John Bain, better known to the gaming community as TotalBiscuit, passed away this week after a 4-year battle with cancer. Rising to prominence from humble roots as a World of Warcraft fan radio producer, TotalBiscuit grew to become one of the industry's most influential voices, doing first impression videos, news, and commentary for the PC market. He was a strong supporter of esports, particularly StarCraft II, sponsoring Team Axiom for 3 years and organizing the popular Shoutcraft series. He was also an unyielding champion for consumer rights, shining a spotlight on some of the industry's worst practices and using his status to make gaming a better place for everybody. The impact that TotalBiscuit has had on both the gaming and YouTube communities cannot be understated. His career has influenced countless channels, this one included, and his determination to make the most out of his remaining time is an inspiration to all that have followed him. He will be missed. The Star Wars spotlight might be on Solo right now, but Lucasfilm is already looking ahead for their next anthology film. According to The Hollywood Reporter, James Mangold, director of the good Wolverine movies, has been tapped to write and direct a movie featuring Boba Fett, which is fine, just fine, even if that means we're looking at 2021 or 22 for the Kenobi movie. That's fine. In gaming news, Overwatch is celebrating its second birthday with the return of its anniversary event. Over the next several weeks, players will have the chance at unlocking all of the past event skins and emotes while playing through the game's various event modes developed so far. In the 2 years since launch, the game has added 6 heroes, 15 maps, 4 game modes, and more than 2,000 unlockables. 38 trillion hit points worth of damage have been dealt, 17 trillion have been healed, and 56 billion objectives have been captured, a number that would be higher if my teammates would get on the damn point. And here's one nobody saw coming. Resident Evil VII is headed for the Nintendo Switch, in Japan, via streaming. This week, Capcom released a trailer for Resident Evil VII Cloud version, which will presumably utilize cloud-based processing as a way to get the game to perform on the modestly powered console. It's an intriguing solution to deal with the system's limitations. So far, it looks like the game will only be available in Japan, accessible for long-term rent, with 2,000 yen getting you 180 days of access. Again, another interesting development of the business model. We'll have to see if it catches on in Japan enough to try out here stateside. Heading into releases this week, if you're not theatered out after Infinity War, Deadpool, and Solo, you might want to take a look at Upgrade. After his wife is murdered, a paralyzed man has a computer chip implanted into his spine that gives him the abilities he needs to exact revenge. This is sci-fi at its best, exploring the future of how man interacts with technology and then using that as inspiration for some really cool looking fight scenes. On television, it's sure been a long time coming, but FLCL is finally returning to Adult Swim. FLCL Progressive is the first of 2 sequel series to the hit anime set to premiere this year. I try to tell you what the show is about, but if you're familiar with the original anime, then you already know that's an effort in futility. Also premiering this week is The 100 Code. The Swedish crime drama produced for German television is coming to WGN America. This show has the German-born British actor Dominic Monaghan playing an American detective teaming up with a Swedish investigator played by the late Michael Nyqvist to catch a serial killer. And that's not the only German adaptation coming out this week. Star Trek Prometheus, The Root of All Rage, is making its English-language debut. The second in a series of novels features the crew of the USS Prometheus trying to keep terrorists from sparking a Federation-Klingon war in the era of the original series. And for another tie-in novel, Gotham City of Monsters will showcase Jim Gordon's time as a bounty hunter, filling the gaps between Season 2 and Season 3 of the show. Heading into game releases, in honor of TotalBiscuit, let's start with a game that he would never play. Paper Dolls, a VR survival horror game that has you exploring ancient Chinese ruins. For something a little more low-tech, Bitsy Bits may initially look like a mediocre NES game, but upon further inspection there might be a fair bit of quality here, with some impressive level designs and art. And for more pixel art fun, Unworthy is a Metroidvania-style game with some really cool-looking levels and the unique limitation of no jumping. And Moonlighter is another great-looking pixel art entry. This roguelite dungeon crawler has some really impressive-looking bosses and seems to have quite the story attached to it, a rarity for games about randomly generated dungeons. Meanwhile, Agony is another survival horror game that cuts to the chase by literally sending your character to hell. Unlock your memories, take control of demons, and meet up with the Red Goddess to survive? Is survive the right word if you're already in hell? If you're looking for something a little more wholesome, Golem is a puzzle platformer that has you solving puzzles with a shape-shifting robot. And Quantum Replica may be worth a look if you have a hankering for cyberpunk stealth action. This seems to be the month for Capcom Collection games. Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection compiles 12 versions of 4 games into one nostalgia-filled package. For point-and-click adventure titles, Detective Gallo is a cute-looking game about a chicken dressed like Dick Tracy trying to solve crimes in a cartoonish noir adventure. And our retro RPG of the week is The Player RPG, a self-aware NES-styled game about a gamer trapped in a budget title. For tower defense, Skelly Tower Defense isn't the most well-produced game I've ever seen, but those skeletons are kinda cute. And finally on PC, Heroes of Umbra is a 2D side-scrolling MMO, which is a genre that really seems to have died down of late. Over on consoles, Knights of Pen and Paper Plus One Deluxe-Year Edition brings tabletop RPGs to modern consoles with 16-bit style graphics. And Icy is making its Switch debut, bringing fourth-wall-breaking cyborg sword-fighting action to the Nintendo console. That leaves us with this week's awesome video. Celebrate Overwatch's 2-year anniversary with a stop-motion short about Tracer going Toy Story. That's everything for this week, so what do you think about streaming games to the Switch? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, you know what to do, and if you're new, how about giving that subscribe button a press? Go ahead and pass this video around to your friends, and have a great week!